And then I do another part that most people don't have. We establish vulnerability tracking. Everything you have on your network is going to have vulnerabilities. Don't matter what product it is or any stuff like that. So you got to establish vulnerability tracking. Now, Microsoft gives us the second Tuesday, which is good because you got a date you always know you have to look at. The rest of them, you kind of got to do research. So when I train the teams and I train my SOC teams and stuff like that, I tell them concentrate on 2 to 3 vulnerability sites. I like Zero Day Initiative, Trend Micro, BleepingComputer's other, old packet storm, all that type of stuff. Find with exploit DB, whatever you like, and track that and look for vulnerabilities in your known software. And what I tell the team is, we know everybody's going to have Cisco. We're in Francophone Africa quite a bit. They're going to have Fortinet. They're going to have these different products. And then, of course, Big Five, right? A lot of people like Big Five, big F5, sorry, F5 big IP, which has got tons of vulnerabilities all the time. When you put that system in, you've got the vulnerabilities of that system for its entire lifetime. This is what I try to explain to everybody. Okay, yeah, you're a Cisco. We love Cisco. I mean, I've got routers and stuff for Cisco. 20 years later, they're still running. You never had to update them. Well, they're full of vulnerabilities because you don't update them, but they run really well. So you got to track that because that's your attack surface, right? And what do we do is, I always tell everybody, you got to establish vulnerability tracking, even if you're a pen tester, because as a pen tester, I got to have vulnerability. As a defender, I got to know what the vulnerability is. So it's the same concept. It's just a different perspective. So we start everything with a target database, and then you take that target database and map the attack surface if you're pen testing for each one of your targets. If you're doing a defense posture, you're actually taking each one of your actual potential targets and determine what the attack surface is. So what somebody could potentially leverage to gain access into your architecture, right? Then once we're done with that, we move to the next level, and that's the vulnerability management program. Most sites I run into do not have a vulnerability management program. And the other component of that is you have the CVSS, right? The Common Vulnerability Scoring Summary. How many people customize it? Majority of everybody I meet doesn't customize it. It was created specifically for severity for your organization based on 3 components: the base score, which everybody gets; the temporal score, which is the exploitability of the vulnerability; and then finally the environmental score, which the actual environmental score says what's that in segment wherever that vulnerability is located at. What's the importance of the confidentiality? What's the importance of the integrity, the availability, and all these other types of things? That gives you a true severity of the vulnerability. Majority of people don't do it. They take that base score and say, oh, yeah, I got a high vulnerability. Well, it could be critical, it could be low, depending on those other 2 components of the score. Yeah. In my experience, most people never do it. Then once we've got that, we've got a pretty good architecture in place, and then we deploy deception decoys, triggers around the networks. That's exactly what the whole book about deception is about. We call it proactive resilience, right? Reactive is as it sounds. You're reacting to an event that's already taken place. And proactive, you're anticipating before the event happens. And that's why we use the decoy triggers, because that tells you when somebody's getting in the environment.